Anyone wants to talk to us about any experience they had in the past week? Morgan, Louisa, Anna, Ani, anyone? Anything that you guys had? New buyers? I know Ani's bringing one of her buyers in for a second interview. Anyone else? Anything new? I know the inventory is really low, right?
Yeah.
You guys have noticed the inventory is very low. So what I would say is I would talk to your clients. I would tell them, or family members, if anyone is looking to buy, that when the school finishes in June, usually the trend is that the inventory picks up. A lot of families decide to move when that happens, and so basically the inventory should pick up, hopefully. That's what I'm saying to a lot of my buyers. So what I do is I told Ani this to her buyers too and our buyers. I said, Ani John, please call all of them, tell them not to lose hope, massage them, give them some positive news that inventory should pick up during summer. So I think it's good if you haven't heard from your buyers that you guys are helping them buy a home, to keep in touch with them at least once a week. And if they're getting frustrated, maybe to have coffee with them. Just don't lose the momentum that you guys have with them. That I think is really important. So I think for the part 2 and maybe the last part of lending, and then I do want to start the probate. I've begun to kind of fresh my mind. I'm studying it again, so I can share with you guys all the valid information about the probate and trust sales that we're gonna have. So I'll start that next week. So for this part of the lending, I just want to review kind of what we've covered. We've talked about Lending 101, basically understanding the main programs that the lending offers. There is the full doc, quality mortgage loans. There's a non-QM, non-full doc. We talk about some of the more popular programs under non-QM, like bank statement loan. For a lot of people that are self-employed, the bank statement loan is a good option. We talked about full doc. The two popular programs are conventional loans and FHA. We talked about the good and the bad with each program. We also talked about the loan amount you can get. We talked about, right now, we're talking about how a lot of condos even that are available today, they're not FHA approved. So FHA is not approved for for some condos and houses. So that's something to make a note of. But I personally, from my experience, I bought a lot of condos, FHA, houses that are in the smaller price range, lower price range, because FHA was usually set up for help first-time buyers to kind of wet their feet and just start off, So we have to look into the inventory and see why that is, why there's so many of them right now not FHA approved, and maybe have Perry double check to make sure it's accurate. We also talk about, as an agent, guys, when you guys are at a friend's house, party, you go to a hair salon, nail salon place, and you want to open a conversation, and somebody says, yeah, I've been thinking about buying a house. We talked about last week how to open a conversation is, hey, do you have a pre-approval? Have you talked to a lender? And if they say yes, then that's good. The conversation will take a different direction. Most of them may say no. That's when you could ask them, well, what's your budget? How much have you saved up? Do you want to come in, have some tea at our office, and we can do a free consultation? And in that free consultation, we talked about the two main questions. What is your budget monthly payment you can do? And how much have you saved up? Based on those two, you guys can give them a ball figure price range that they can buy. And then from there, then you could move towards the qualification. So it's important to note, guys, first get the foundation ready before you see if they qualify for that foundation. So first, see what their budget is, and then see if they qualify for that budget, or they qualify for more, or they qualify for less. It's an easier conversation with buyers, especially first-time buyers, if you just simplify things. Don't go here, back here. So finish here, then move here, finish here, then move here. So where I do it, I ask the two questions, I get the purchase price, minus the down payment, get the loan amount. Then I go, okay, now let's see if you qualify. So what do you do? May I see your tax return? May I see your pay stub? Let me see if you qualify. So then I do that, you know what I mean? So I think that helps because they stay focused. And the other thing that's really important, guys, is when you do budget for them, they're gonna feel like they really care. Like you really, I mean, we do, but they're really gonna see that in your heart. Like the first thing this agent is doing for me, he or she is helping me to see what I can afford. They must really care for what happens after I get the key. It's not just their commission. And that's the truth with us. And I'm hoping with most agents out there. So I think by opening the door to the budgeting, it leaves a very good impression. And it's very helpful because half of the people I've talked to, their price or their houses are looking on Zillow and Redfin, it's a lot higher than what they actually would like to make monthly payment on. So it's something very basic, but just doing that, it makes them think. It really makes them think to see if they can do that. The other thing I will tell you guys outside of this kind of like interaction we have here, the one-on-one, if you really want to know more about lending, let's talk outside of the class. Let's out of the class time, and I can guide you guys to some websites, or Perry can help you guys to learn more detail, because it's like an ocean. There's so many things in there that that you can learn. And I just want you guys to know the basic, because you guys are realtors, so it's good to have some basic knowledge about lending, about appraisal, about many things that have to do with the transition of somebody buying or selling a home. So the other thing that comes to my mind is basically a lot of us do the first time meeting and the second time meeting doesn't happen. It's like you bring someone here, we do the free consultation, and then we call them, they don't answer, or it's like nothing happens. So what can we do to keep that momentum going? What are some of the things you guys think we can do to keep the momentum going? What do you guys think?
Follow.
Right.
Follow.
Right. So you brought a client here. How long would you follow? I mean, not your two clients that I know about, because those have a connection with you. Talking about like a new client, maybe you met at an open house. How many days later would you follow up?
I myself follow up maybe a week after or so. And I might write are you guys still interested? If
Right.
you are, let's just have a chat at the top.
So let's talk about a few follow-up patterns that I think work. Morgan,
I thought that with the open house, usually you have to call the day after.
the day after, right?
With the open house.
Right.
Cases are different, depends.
Depends, correct.
So, open house is always the day after.
Correct, I agree. One thing that has worked for me more than often is to make the next appointment on that day that you're meeting with them, even at the open house. So what I has worked, I'm like, hey, since we're both here, let's take a look at our schedule. What do you think? Does Tuesday, if we're gonna open, let's use open house. Does Tuesday work for you? I'm available anytime for you to come into our office to have a cup of tea and we do the consultation. Like if you could, it's kind of like, unfortunately, it's like a car salesman tactic. I don't know if you ever heard, if you go buy a car, they want you to buy it on that day before you leave. They feel like if you leave, chances of you coming back is very little. So in making appointments, it's that mentality might work. So for example, I know Ani, I know Morgan have brought new clients here that weren't like relatives or friends. They were just referral clients. So at that time, and I get a few of those too, at that time, when we finish the meeting, it would be good if you could set up the second meeting right then and there. If you could do it right then and there, it's more chance of them continuing to go with you. Because remember, they're not your client yet, they're a customer. So basically, when you first meet with them, you bring them in. When you're about to say goodbye, set up the second appointment. If you don't, I would say 3 days. 3 days would be good to follow up and continue to build that relationship.
But I feel every situation is different because
Correct.
sometimes, for example, with my two clients, is that it's not like their mind is not set to go with me. It's like they are, for some reason, not. I mean, some people when they decide to buy a home, they decide and they want to buy a home in 3 or the most 6 months. They really set on it. It's definite. But some other buyers they want to buy a home, but they don't put it as their first or urgent primary
Priority.
thing in their life.
Okay.
That is the thing.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. The first thing you said is the key. Every situation is different. So
Yeah.
there's no one formula, right? But what I would say is in every situation, try to find a light to turn on in their mind. So what I do is the marketplace. If they want to wait 6 months, and if it's really a good choice, I'll support that, but I keep in touch with them and make sure they don't fade away. If it's a good time to buy this summer, I invite them to do that. I tell them, you know what, you should. So let me conclude it with this. It all comes down with them being ready. And with buying a house, what is being ready? It's basically for them to have their pre-approval. If they have their pre-approval, you're good. So basically, taking them from a stage of seeing houses without pre-approval to a stage of seeing houses with a pre-approval. Kind of like what we did with one of your buyers. You know, when they first came, the couple times they came, we didn't have a pre-approval. Then we got into a stage that they have a pre-approval. That's, I think, is the key. If they have, and we did this with one of Caroline's clients too, she was showing houses to her for like months, no pre-approval. She came in here, now we have a pre-approval. That I think is the difference.
Yes,
If they can have a pre-approval, doesn't have to be with us. It can be with any lender. The key that I'm trying to communicate is them being ready. Even if they're going to buy a year later, if they're ready, then that shows a commitment from their end. Versus some people are like, well, I'll come back, let me see. There's nothing wrong with that. But half of those, again, are like that car sales, tactic, that they might not come back. But as long as we can get them ready to have a pre-approval from their choice of lender, that I think draws a commitment from them, and you're able to build on that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that we should push them into buying sooner than later. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm suggesting, even for you guys that are like, getting your license stuff, what I'm suggesting is like move forward. Let's make sure we're moving forward. It doesn't matter if it takes another 6 months to get your license, as long as we're moving forward. So moving forward means there's a relationship involved, and they're becoming either your client or they're becoming closer to becoming your client versus just leaving it. Without moving forward, nothing will change. And I think that's what I'm really proposing. So we covered a lot with lending, guys. I really feel that the basic, the basic information you guys know. If you guys want to do more advanced, you can ask and we can guide you. Or if you're interested to even get your loan officer license, you can do that. There's a good class, first Tuesday. That's when I went and studied mine. You guys can, sign up with them, see what they offer. You could kind of enhance your knowledge and even get your license.
I have a question. The loan officers have the same overhead that a real estate agent have, or theirs is different? Like
What do you
overhead
mean
is
overhead?
Like we pay for the license, for renewal, for let's say MLS, do they have those expenses too? Or not?
So to my knowledge, there is less fees involved when you become an LO, which is a loan officer, to activate it and keep it going. There's a lot less fees. One thing is for sure, you don't have the monthly Supra, for example.
The Supra, no, but let's
The
say access to
yearly,
MLS.
you have to, not just MLS.
Not the MLS, but access to
the yearly
a program.
car. Because MLS usually, your association charge you yearly for the car and
NAR.
MLS. NAR.
Yeah.
So in generally speaking, there's a lot less fees involved. Generally speaking. Now, if you happen to get your LO license in connection with DRE, so you're gonna have those fees anyway. But if somebody doesn't have a DRE license, just gets their loan officer license and goes through the FPI, it's a lot less fees, if that answers your questions.
My question is, for example, for a real estate agent, it's necessary that have access to MLS. That's a tool, that your work tool. So is there any work tool for
No.
LOs? So there is none.
There is not, no.
but they still have to pay for the car,
The mem-
or
their own
if let's say they're
own.
not DRE with DRE.
So my knowledge, because I'm associated with real estate and DRE, I don't know. So I haven't myself. You have to ask that from like first Tuesday. What I mean is this: you have your DRE license,
Yes.
so you're already paying the CAR, the
Mhm.
NAR. You're paying everything.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. So when you get your LO, you don't pay double. It's already paying it. Now,
Okay.
if we don't have a DRE license, like Meg is not here. We could ask her. She got her LO license through. She has to go through the FPI. I don't think, to my knowledge, I don't think there is any fee.
What
But-
is FPI?
It's a different association. So when you become a loan officer, if you go through Department of Real Estate, you have to have a real estate license, and then you connect your loan officer to DRE. DFPI, Department Financial Innovation, I think that one is different. So that one, you don't need a DRE license. You could just become a loan officer, go work for Wells Fargo, go work, for example. Again, don't quote me on this, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
with that one, I don't know what fees you have yearly, because mine, I don't have, everything is related to my
I
license.
thought you have to pay for because one time I checked their website, what is the abbreviation?
DFPI?
DFPI. I thought you have to pay yearly to them too.
Absolutely, there's a fee involved, but I don't know what those are, so we have to check with the FPI.
No,
I don't know
Because
what they
one
are.
time I checked their website.
But they're not as much as DRE. They're a lot less, in my opinion. Yes, you definitely have to do a yearly thing. Yeah, it just makes sense. Yeah.
And it's
So
very-
our
it's
company
type of
has a
thing.
license for both. So this one is the FPI. It just got approved this morning, actually. So finally, they take so long to review. So we finally got. So Meg now can become an LO under this company. That one, it's been approved with DRE for months. But now I'm gonna separate it. So I'm just gonna use that now for lending and that for real estate. So it just got approved this morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of back and forth with them. So, yeah, finally, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so this helps because now, let's say any of you are interested to get your license, you could hang your license with loan with this one, and then this one with your real estate license. This one, for the FPI, you just take like 2-hour additional. It's an extra 2-hour course from your regular courses. That DRE has an additional 2-hour course.
Like how long is a regular one?
I'm sorry.
How long does it take to take the course?
I think it's like, I'm not sure how many hours, but maybe 30, 36. We have to look into it. I don't remember.
It's way shorter than
It's way shorter.
real estate.
Yeah, but the test from my experience, the exam was a lot harder.
Yeah, that's like her too.
Yeah, the exam is like a lot harder than real
More
estate.
trickier.
Yes, a lot harder. A lot more terms, a lot of terms. Yeah. So now we're kind of set. So, the goal was like, if you guys have another agent, let's say that they need like a lending, we can just suggest them that so they're not threatened by the other one that does real estate. So this one is just lending, So it's very separate. So I have my business card for that. So let's say you have a friend agent, you could give my card, which just introduces me as that. Or Meg would just be lending by us. That's it. Separate website, separate everything. So
Do we have the website already up?
we're gonna now work on it with Joelle and Caroline. We're gonna work on it. So, but I'm gonna do a lot simpler website for this one.
For this thing, property by us, did you mention that, that they have to, that's important though.
It was a while ago. A while ago, I was checking the property website, the property by us, and I have to go on it maybe today later. I'll go to office and I'll find it. I show you. One thing, usually with some website, I don't remember exactly what was a few months ago, but when you click on something and you go to that page, you cannot click back.
So the website, when you guys saw that, wasn't up yet.
It was
wasn't.
up.
It was up, but it wasn't ready.
Oh, okay.
So it became ready about 3 or 4 days ago. So check it now. If it
Yeah, I'm gonna
exists,
check
let
it,
me know.
Because
So now it's fully ready.
No, my
2 weeks ago.
concern was different. Like when you type property by us, then you have to propertybyus.com in order to website to come up. People don't do that, propertybyus.com. They just put property by us.
I don't know why it
It's
doesn't.
COA, remember? I told you we need to do COA to solve
Yeah,
this.
so she's gonna do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like when you introduce yourself to people like you work by property, I'm sure they go and look you
Oh,
up.
that
But
one.
when they do, it doesn't
That-
come up to CEO or related to.
So I think Anna's gonna fix that, right?
Yeah, I know because there are kind of back office to any website, and I guess you have to put some terms or codes when you're creating that website that the Google, because it's just explaining it gets harder. Because
They're gonna
I
look
wanted
into
to
that. I
check,
know
yeah,
what it is. They're gonna
that it wouldn't come up.
look
Otherwise,
into
Google
that
wouldn't pick it up.
tomorrow.
Mhm.
We're together. Okay, yeah, we'll look into that. I know what you guys talking about because I did that too.
Yeah.
I typed in
Yes.
property bias and it wouldn't come up, and I kept scrolling. I'm like, why is
And
it not
then when
coming
you
up?
put .com, then yeah, it should.
I think when I put that, it didn't even come up. But we gotta make sure that it comes up. Next week, guys, we're gonna start the probate trust. It's really good. Couple other motivating things I want to tell you guys. I think this is a really hard time, guys, to be like every career or every industry, I should say. Every industry right now is struggling because of inflation, because of what's been going on. Obviously, we see this in the rates. So the housing, the selling of houses, everything is kind of down right now. So as an encouraging note, as a positive note, what I want to tell you guys, things will get better. Whenever things are bad, they end up getting better. They don't stay bad. So we're right now going through like the opposite of what COVID did to the housing market. We're going through a really tough time. So as an encouraging note, if you don't have any deals, if there is no inventory, you're not alone. It's everyone. This is very, very normal. And the people that do have deals, they're really, really veterans. They've established a huge network. They're even struggling, you know what I mean? Because they're used to like certain volume, and now the volume has gone so much down.
Sure.
So this is gonna get better. My prediction and prayer is next year, maybe by summertime. So don't lose, hope. Don't be discouraged. If you guys got your license, and since you got your license, you feel like there is nothing, I haven't closed. Well, you got your license in a very tough time. For example, when I got my license, it was a really busy time. So it was easier for me to close deal. There was more opportunity. And the rates were so down. So you know what I'm saying? So, think of the reality behind, think of the context behind your situation, and then you be more logical and you feel better. Don't judge a book by its cover. Think of what is actually going on. Right now, this market is a different market, and this is very normal.
Yeah, the prices are pretty high and no one has money. That's
And
the
the
problem.
interest.
Everyone I talk to.
So
They talk about interest rate.
I feel like we're in a good position. Last thing I want to say, and then we can call it a day. I say when things are slow, when things are bad, it's time for you to get your license. It's time for you to study. It's time for me to start property bias and spend all my money and be in debt. This is a good time to do those things, because when we're busy, then you have your license, you want to make money. Then when you're busy, the seeds that you have thrown, they'll start calling you back. This is a good time to add to your knowledge. This is a good time to study. This is a good time to do everything we're doing. You don't want to just stand still or give up. You want to just do other things that relates to your business when business picks up. So it's always like Perry and I always say, this is a good time to do all these things, So I think we're in good hands. Next week we'll do probate and trust, and we'll go from there.
Okay.